How you doing, folks? This is my second entry into this week's Replace Windows Notepad. Um, this time I decided to create a real Windows app. Of course, I didn't write the code. I used Google Antigravity. I've been playing with that for the last week or so. I ended up with the LF Notepad exe. That's the Lunduke Forum Notepad exe. So when I click on that, now is the time for every, every all right. And then Control S to save, and I'll put it in downloads. Test 3. And then Control O. I can pick my first one. I can go and let's open Notepad project. Let's do all files, and let's bring up the sprint plan. So when I work with AI, I have it create a sprint plan to break the work down in small chunks. So if it, you know, say runs out of tokens or the power goes off or anything happens that it doesn't get to complete its work, we will have saved working code at different executable chunks that can come back in. But let's come up here and do find the word fix. All right, I don't have. How about find? Oh, I have to answer this modal wire. Okay, so it's you know a very basic functioning notepad. It doesn't have AI built in, doesn't have anything else Microsofty that you don't like. I mean, that was the goal. We're sick and tired of Microsoft making Notepad do things that we don't want it to do. This was all but one-shotted from Antigravity. So I'm in the agent view at the moment for Antigravity. If we come over here, this is the code view, much more like Visual Studio Code, which is what Antigravity is a fork of or based on. Um, but the agent mode view, let's take a look at here. So this is where I'm doing my work, and this is where it's showing me what it's done, and this is how the workflow went. I'd like to use you as autonomously as possible to build a Windows Notepad clone to have the old school functionality before Microsoft added AI. I want it to be a real Windows app, nothing innovative, just completely functional. Let's discuss the best way to go about it. And so it recommended that we use C Sharp and WinForms. I'm not a C Sharp developer, don't need to be. Uh, and then explained it. It gave me several other options and said why I didn't choose those. I didn't have a dog in this fight. I didn't care. I just wanted the app to work. And it does make sense to build it with the Windows tools because a lot of it's already built for you. Um, and then ask me questions. Do I have the .NET SDK installed? And this is where it gets cool, folks. I write, can you check the prerequisites are installed and install any that are missing? This is the agent part where you're giving it a mission to do. So it is able to look to see that I didn't have it installed, and then it installed it. I didn't have to know where to go to do the install. It was able to do all of that autonomously. And then it tells me the .NET SDK was installed. Um, it created or it verified that our Notepad directory existed, which is where the project is. Um, so I have a process, and I'll talk about later. I call it in the agent, but I have a contract with the AI. I tell it how I want to work, how it needs to work with me, and I'd already set this project up with that. So I say, let's create the product definition, the design, artifacts first, then a sprint plan to break the task into chunks, read the agent's markdown file. It has my desired workflow codified. Do what's needed to make that your workflow. And I'm like, if I was using Codex or Claude Code or Open Code, any of those, they all, well, Claude uses Claude.md, but they all use agents.md. I'm not sure if Antigravity does, so I'm directing it specifically to look at that file and to follow it. So it does that. Then I say update any. Notice that in my files, it's Python based because most of the code I do is Python based. So I say update any document that is Python centric to be appropriate for the tech we are using in this project. And it goes and does that. Are you starting to sense the workflow, the difference? I am directing my team. My team happens to be agents that are in the Antigravity product. So it goes and updates the documents, makes them based on C#. Then I have the chance to review all these that it created. And then I ask it, do we need anything else? My desire is to set you loose to create this autonomously. I do not want to keep clicking OK or run. Then I tried to use the new Gemini 3.1 Pro model, even though it's on the list, that didn't work. So I switched it to Sonnet 4.6 Thinking, which is interesting because that's Anthropic's latest model, which Google is offering for free in their product, but that's what we use for this. Do we need anything else? My desire, okay, I already said that part. And then it tells me it's prepared to work autonomously. It did have me click, proceed 5, 6, 7 times, a lot less than it can be. So then I tell it to proceed, and it's going. So it's starting on sprint 1. And again, I mentioned that I had broken this down into sprints, or I had it break it down into sprints. So it codes away sprint 1, sprint 2, sprint 3, all the way to sprint 5. And it's testing along the way. I'm not showing you everything here. It tells me what it's got done. And then it brings it up, and I'm able to test it myself. That's wonderful. How do I run it from Windows, from PowerShell? In other words, I want this to be a real standalone app. So it gives me some options. I pick option 3, build once, then just double click the exe. So I want an exe. You guys saw me do that. I went here and I double clicked on the exe. It's a Windows executable. I told it what I wanted, and then it went ahead and did. I have no idea what you need to do to make a Windows exe from C#, but I don't need to know. I just need to tell the AI what I want done. And interesting, at the end, it said I told it to update the docs, which it did. It should have been updating them as it worked. I'm a little concerned that it didn't. So I mentioned that I'm not 100% sure how my process flow docs work in Gemini, and I got to make that happen later. And let's see. I asked it, what did AgentFlow, that's my process, my methodology encoded in the agents.md file and the rest of the docs contribute to your ability to successfully code this app basically one shot. And by one shot, I gave it no further instructions of this didn't work, do that. I mean, everything worked out of the box. And this is kind of funny. He did say some things that my workflow would do. Um, Particularly the code test as Lee, fix commit pattern. So when I work with AIs and I say to test the code, they'll run tests, but they're not user tests. So then when I try to run the code, I see bugs and it frustrates me. So I explicitly put in the agents markdown that this is a process. You write the code, you do your test, then you test as me, the user. The point is that when I run it, all the bugs should be out of it, and I should just be looking at functionality. And this is funny. What AgentFlow didn't contribute, honest accounting. This is where the AI, man, they feel like humans sometimes. The actual code quality came from .NET's built-in controls. WinForms does 80% of the heavy lifting, and the one-shot success was also partly luck of scope. Notepad is a well understood problem with no ambiguous requirements. AgentFlow, that's my process, would show its bigger value in a longer project where context genuinely degraded across sessions, or where a second AI agent picks it up mid-flight. And that's actually what I built it for. So it was kind of funny. I said, hey, well, 80% of the code is basically Windows scaffolding, and the problem set is really known. I didn't have to figure anything out. That's what people think all of agent programming is that all the patterns are in the training database. It's not creative at all. It just retrieves. And it's saying in this case, yeah, it's pretty much true because it's such a well-known space. I didn't give it any instructions that made it have to be clever. So that's it. I think this stuff is awesome. I hope you have a great day.